First story. Cause my 7 years GF said to me that she is not attracted to me anymore. So basically, I've been with my girl for 7 years. We have had a lot of highs and lows, but we always overcome it. The problem is that, since almost 2 years that I've been having ED problems. Since then I've been finding ways to make sex possible, like meditation, more healthy diet, etc. The problem is that every time that we are going to have sex, a lot of conditions were to be met so we were able to have sex. I felt that making it more frequently, my anxiety about that felt less and less. But what I didn't expect was that because of that, the magic of it was slowly fading for her. Now, apart from my ed, she also slowly lost the interest on having sex with me, in the point that now we have 2 months without having sex. And we didn't even try it because now she doesn't want to. Yesterday she have told me that she doesn't feel attracted to me anymore, and that she feels guilty about that, but I don't know what to do anymore. I tried taking care more about my image and my body, also having more physical touch with her, and try to be more present and spending quality time with her, but nothing seems to work. What else can I try? I feel hopeless and I really love her. I have already scheduled a meeting with a urologist about my ED issue. Update. I want to quit. I have lost the will to live and I don't know how to keep going. My 7 years GF have lost the interest on me, and I'm keep working on myself, doing exercise, losing weight and being more social. But that doesn't seem to help. Also, I have severe ED, but we can't even try to have sex because she is not interested anymore. Yesterday I have lost my job and the market seems so full that I don't know if I will be able to get anything soon. I just want the pain to end. The only thing that keeps me going is the hope that things will be okay with my GF again, my dog and my mom. But now even that doesn't seem enough for me to keep fighting. I'm just so tired of trying. Update. My GF cheated on me again and I'm really tired of trying. So my 7-year GF have cheated on me again for the second time. Maybe some may not see this as cheating, but let me explain it. Ever since we started dating, she has never stopped talking his ex. And I always explained to her how much it hurt me. But I had to accept it because she only said that she doesn't talks to him, but she always does. The first time I considered that she cheated on me was when I was experiencing a lot of fear on driving. I don't know if I have a condition, but I experience a lot of fear with some normal like things like driving, so when we go in a car, I had a lot of fear, but I confronted it. But during that time, when I was learning to drive and learning to stop having fear because of that, she didn't even touched me, and she doesn't wanted to have anything with me. During that time, I found out that she was sexting with that ex, and I confronted her about it, but she only said to me that she was going to stop talking to him. And I overcome my fear to drive, and we even traveled to a lot of far places on car. I thought that it was over, but then I developed psychological ED because I now thought that I have to be perfect, even when pleasure her on sex. But that caused me to have fear to sex because I thought that if I didn't give it to her, she was going to search for his ex again. I also tried to overcome that issue with a lot of things like exercise, healthy diet, meditation, and I was about to search also for trying therapy. But I didn't before because she always told me not to, because I managed to have sex with her. But somehow my issue got worse 2 months ago, and we haven't sexed since then. Now I discovered that she is sexting with her ex again. I'm just too tired to keep trying everything. Also, I got fired from my work because I can't even concentrate because I'm too worried about everything. I just want pain to end. I really love her, but I think nothing will change. But I also don't want to live without her because we have a house and a dog. And I don't want to lose what remains. I just want to disappear from this world and escape all the problems because I have lost the will to keep fighting for everything. Update. My 7 years girlfriend cheated on me and she wants to leave me. So basically my 7 years GF, 26, cheated on me 28 again by sexting with her ex some weeks ago. It is the second time that it happens, and it has been happening this time since the start of this year. The first time was a year ago and also lasted several months. Problem is that I really love her, and I forgave her the 2 times that I found out. I really want to be with her. We have already a house and a dog, and his family loves me as well as I do. Now she has told me today that is better to end the relationship, but I don't want to. I don't want to lose everything and start over again. Could there be a way that we can be together? Update. Severe ED since some time and my GF have already cheated on me twice. How can I explain to her that the issue has nothing to be with her? Hello, so basically, I have more than 7 years with my GF. We got our best sex in our lives for several years, but since last year, I started having problems with my erections. They were not strong enough or couldn't maintain them for long enough, but it happens sometimes. Now since almost 4 months that the problem is worse. I can't get an erection almost never. We only had sex once since that. I told her that I need to see a doctor, but since the problem began, I caught her sexting with her ex twice and like 3 months ago she almost left me. Today we tried having sex again, but we were unsuccessful, and she is mad with me again. Any advice on how can I explain to her that this is temporary, and if I go to the doctor we can find the root cause and solve it? I'm really scared that she leaves me, or she sex with her ex again. Also, would you recommend to first go see a general doctor or going directly with a urologist? Update. I noticed that my GF started shaving her PS. So basically, I posted some weeks ago that I'm suffering from ED. Since that, I have managed to have sex with my GF once, but she was cheating on me by sexting with her ex like since the beginning of this year. Now I notice that she started shaving her PS, something she never did in all our 7 years of relationship. Should I worry? To be honest, I also checked her messages on the computer, but messages were not loading up. See that encryption shit. But I did saw that the chat with her ex was recently. Even thought I could not see the messages. I just want to know if there is a way that I can actually see if she is cheating on me now physically. It would be a really great incentive to finally leave her. Second story. The struggle reel. My 51M wife, 48F, basically had an affair with a co-worker starting last fall. I became suspicious when she had left her phone in the car a couple months ago and called me in a panic from her iPad saying she wanted me to bring it home to her. I was already running late and I would be back in a couple hours. I said I would bring it to her then. She was saying some cockamamie BS about emergencies and the kids, 2 at home, 16 and 20. 22 years old away from home. I pointed out that she was literally talking to me on her iPad and assured her everything would be fine. Thought nothing of it, until I am on my way home and a text comes from the building guy, maintenance janitor, etc. She manages the building, so they worked very closely together and it wasn't uncommon, so I thought, for them to have to communicate a lot. Sometimes if it was after hours like this time, it could be important. So of course, that's where this nightmare began for me. I wish I had the foresight to forward the whole thread to myself then, but I was such a hopeless chump. I trusted her, and the messages were definitely not anything damning. The few that I saw, just very flirty. And it was clear that they were in constant contact about everything, not just work. The one text I read that first time mentioned something about her working in the yard, which was funny. BCZ, she almost never does that, and him expecting to see no tan lines. So definitely no smoking gun stuff, but it absolutely got my attention. So of course my dumb ass starts asking her questions. Huge mistake. I had never been lied to or gaslighted, and I still thought she was my person and that I was still her person. So I let myself sort of believe her. But that feeling in the gut, that you sadly learn the hard lesson of trusting eventually, was telling me there was a lot more to the story. So suddenly I become Magnum PI. I was still so new at ever having to think about any of this stuff. I still had access to all her devices and there was no suspicion. So I started to read through the texts when I got the chance. I would scroll back further and further. Still no blatant fire, but definitely some smoke. Lunch together every day, sometimes apparently involving going for a drive. Lots of just really sweet things from her to him and some suggestive memes and comments back. Enough to make me think they could definitely be more than work friends. Enough to really start fucking with my head, and of course I'm still too chumpy at this point, so I try talking to her more. I guess I must have been hitting some nerves. BCZ she started really opening up the floodgates at this point about not loving me anymore, not being attracted to me for a long time. Resentment for a spell of drinking and letting myself go for a couple years after COVID. I had quit drinking at the end of last summer and have been getting into the best shape of my life. But this didn't matter to her. She basically said she had realized that she could fall for someone besides me and didn't want to spend her whole life having only loved one man. That hurt like hell, of course. She was insisting that nothing had happened between them besides being friends and venting to each other about, among other things, their miserable marriages. I honestly had no idea she had got to that point. We have been together for 34 years. Met on the school bus. We have had an incredible life together. So many joys and highlights, amazing kids, nice place to live I think. I have always been happy to let her manage the finances while I ran my insurance agency, which she used to help with for a couple years when we first opened. She has also always been able to buy whatever she wants. That got a little crazy, and I realized later that she used buying J.Crew clothes as a comfort mechanism. She probably has close to $50,000 stacked in all our closets and piled to the ceiling in our, well, soon to be my, bedroom. Turns out she had also opened a bunch of credit cards I didn't know about, but that's another story. So I know something must be going on. I'm sure of it. But instead of just coming clean, she let me go through a month of thinking I was going crazy. She saw me at my absolute worst during that time. As I was uncovering more and more info, and feeling more and more conflicted. I had very few people I confided in besides her, so of course on top of seeing MR cycle through the stages of grief, she had to endure me begging and pleading for answers and sympathy and compassion, which she quickly ran short on. Eventually she said she was moving out and the marriage was over, after an extremely traumatic fight. I had threatened to call her affair partner, and for the first time in our 34 years together, she physically attacked me. She went apeshit FCKNG crazy. Started swinging haymakers and trying to kick me with all her might. Luckily I'm a pretty burly dude and she wasn't able to land much, but she did draw blood. So at that point, I realized that she was willing to literally put me in the hospital to keep me from making trouble for Ron. That right there should have been the moment for me. Inside I knew that was the end for us. But I was still a chump. I still loved her and wanted desperately for her to realize that the thrill of sneaking around with this douchebag would not equate into some greener grass happily ever after. And tried to get her to not throw away our life together. Our last kid is a high school senior in the fall. Once she's done, we would finally have the chance to make all those dreams we had built together come true. Lying in bed planning about the grandkids and Sunday dinners we would have. Little babies running around us again and just finally achieving these things. And here we are, right there on the goal line about to punch it in for the win. And on the last play of the game, instead of winning, everyone gets to lose instead. So it's been impossible to handle this with much grace on my part. I'm not proud of a lot of what has happened over the last few months, but I'm realizing there wasn't much else I could have possibly done. On top of this, after her declaration of the end, she said she was leaving. But nearly 2 months later and she's still here. Still keeping secrets. Basically telling me tough shit, she's going to do this. Even though there's no way she can afford it, which scares me. She says she has a place lined up to move to in the next couple weeks. Not sure if it will happen, but it's been a daily heartbreak. I can't live like this much longer. It's amazing to me that she is okay staying here and making me go through this every day. I'm conflicted as hell. Part of me knows I need her gone, but part of me wants to take her upstairs and make love to her. It's so pathetic. So there's my story. There's more, but this is more than enough for now. TGX for reading. Edit. I did get evidence that she was doing shit with this guy and continues to be sneaky with him, telling his wife as soon as divorce is final. More info. Thanks for all the responded, it means a lot. There are a couple things I wanted to add, mostly because my phone was about to die earlier. LOL, as a lot of people here know, you can't just flip a switch after 34 years of loving someone. It's taking me a minute. It felt like all the tears in the beginning were literally the love escaping from my heart, and it was really chock full. Still is pretty full, and the truth is that I will always love her. She gave me 3 great kids, she did a pretty good job of raising them with me, and 95% of our journey together as partners, lovers and parents were incredible. We will end up being really pissed off at each other before this is all said and done, and maybe I won't ever be able to forgive her, but chances are that I probably will eventually find a way to find some affection for her again someday. We will have grandkids running around. We will see each other all the time with the 3 kids. She genuinely feels bad about how things went, and while her empathy tank is pretty empty for me right now, she feels bad about how this is affecting me. And I know this is crazy and sounds ridiculous, but part of me respects her resolve. Yes, she checked out of the marriage already. But after all this time, being hopelessly codependent mostly the whole time, we really do know each other really well. Just because I finally got a sniff of the thing, and that initiated the process of me proving it to myself. An exercise in self-mutilation, if you think about it. Looking back and being honest with myself, it had been since around last summer since she had been acting normal. Until then, things were okay. I happen to know for sure about the timeline of how things developed with a coworker. And the truth of it is that once they started flirting and then it started becoming an EA, he was hesitant because he is married. But she was so enamored by the thrill she got from this new thing that she wasn't going to let it go, because the excitement of the attention she was getting made it irresistible to her. Warning: some people are going to be convinced that what I am about to say is somehow making excuses for the shitty thing she did. That is not at all what this is about. I am typing this part out because I think it might ring true for some others here. Without getting too specific, I will say that she has some serious issues from when she was little, with some horrific shit that happened to her family. A couple really bad things. In fact, she has needed some therapy for this for a long time. But she basically self-medicates through shopping and smoking weed constantly. Literally smokes a joint in her car every day at lunchtime, wearing her full professional attire, then goes back to running the facility 30 minutes later. Some of her childhood shit I won't even talk about, except to say that it involved a step monster and her siblings. She was not targeted by him, but it still really messed her up. Then there was her real dad, who walked out on her and her 3 sibs when they were really little. He was like a superhero to them, and he really did a lot of damage by never keeping promises, not showing up when he said he would, basically ignoring them for the most part. Later in life they all reconnected, and he was a great guy who I was glad to know, but back in the day he wasn't a shat, and he would be the first to admit it. So a big part of her issue is that she has a very deep need for attention of any kind, especially from older men. For a long time, the attention she got from me, and later from the kids, was enough. But then by the time she went back to work after being able to stay at home with the kids for a long time, the 2 of us had gone through the natural cycle of parents being forced to no longer be connected at the hip like we had for 20 years. And suddenly there were other men in her daily life who found her attractive, and she really loved it. Not that she broke her marriage vows immediately, she didn't. But it opened this new door of validation for her, which she really liked. Eventually that external validation from men became something she craved, and just the other day when we were talking, after I found out that she had been flirting with an old man, literally almost 70, who was a patient there at the medical facility where she is the building manager. He's very sick and has to wear a catheter. He couldn't retire and needed a job, so they let him work there. This is a man who is not someone who she would ever actually want to fuck, but the fact that he was interested in her was all it took for her to want to flirt with him. She said it was because she wanted to brighten his day, but the truth is that she is that desperate for external validation. She said to me that she didn't think she would ever want to be married again, because she just loves to flirt so much. Even with a 70-year-old cancer patient. Shit, if you saw my wife. And if I put 10 guys in a lineup, and had you pick the one you thought was the guy she had the affair with, I guarantee the co-worker she had the affair with would not get even 1 out of 1,000 votes. I mean, you hear the term cheating down a lot, but this is on a whole other level. You genuinely would not believe me. I think it's because she knew that someone like this ugly little dude has never had someone like her return any interest in him. So she had this guy really thinking he had won the lottery when she started returning his affection. He was a guaranteed bullseye hit. So she has become genuinely addicted to the attention she gets from men when she flirts. So much that she is willing to blow up her own world completely so she can keep pursuing that external attention. Regarding the physical attack, while I do appreciate your comments and understand the danger there, I'm not going to report anything to the cops about it. I learned my lesson that night and I got all the info I needed from her actions there. In response to all the recommendations about voice recorders and evidence gathering, trust me, I did all that shit, and I got all the info I need. On that subject, I will report that I think after a certain point, once you know enough to support your decision, it's very self-sabotaging and can do a lot more damage than good. I heard a lot more than I needed to hear on a voice recording. Way more than I needed to know. I already knew it, but I think I needed to find just a little more pain to tip the scale in my mind. As far as the other spouse, I do feel conflicted about waiting. But if she goes nuking my wife, soon to be ex, that's still so weird to say, gets fired from her job too soon, it could really cause unwanted consequences to me. This loser kind of worked in a subordinate position to her, and I can see the hospital taking action because of it. So yes, I feel bad for not telling her right away, but I really need to be careful. Thanks again for the responses, it's really great to feel a little less alone for a few minutes. Third story. A year of hell that seems never ending. It has been a year since my life unraveled and was turned upside down. A year of lies, dismissive anger, gaslighting, and blame shifting. A year of unimaginable pain and sorrow. A year of feeling like I'm living someone else's life, and there's no positive end in sight. My story follows so many others it's uncanny. The same tactics, excuses, and words that really add up to nothing. From the beginning my spouse has followed the cheating playbook almost word for word. How can someone I've known and loved for so long lie to me so artfully and not seem to care at all about it? That rips me up and I still can't figure it out. Like others, I had no clue. I trusted this person with all of my heart. My spouse told me our marriage was the best ever. They were so happy, I'm the perfect spouse, until I found out and it wasn't good at all. They have sat there and professed their love for me the last year, all while showing dismissive anger towards my fears and pain. They have love-bombed me and then treated me terribly. After a year I still feel the pain, anguish, hurt. I feel unloved, unsafe, and discarded. The pain isn't as bad as a year ago, but it's still very painful. I've become numb to a lot. I zone out, can't concentrate, and can't sleep. And everything I've read, this is all normal. I just want a life of love, laughter, friendship, and someone I can trust will always have my back. Infidelity sucks. It has destroyed me. Update. How did you get through your pain? Found out last year my wife is a serial cheater with tons of irrefutable evidence and she still denies it. While I'm in a better place than last year, it's still devastating and I'm heartbroken after more than a year of trying to work on things, and she just keeps showing she just doesn't care or wants to keep it hidden forever. We have been married for 24 years and I gave this woman my heart, soul, love, career, and 100% trust. I never suspected she would throw it back in my face. I can't believe the person I've seen the last year, totally different than the person from the previous years. She seems to enjoy the pain and torment she has caused. Passive-aggressive, innuendos, and blatantly flirting, staring at others all the time. But then she lies and says she's never done anything, and says all she's ever wanted was us. Then says it's all me. For those of you that have made it through situations like this, how have you dealt with the pain? How did you deal with the lies, anger, gaslighting, and blame shifting? It's demoralizing and I just am lost no matter how many things I read or people I talk to. Update. Why am I not angry for the cheating? Anyone else feel this way? So, it has been over a year since finding my wife of 24 years has had multiple affairs. Like many, I had no clue and never even imagined the possibility. I thought we were different. I thought our marriage was strong and that I was safe. Thing is, I haven't gotten angry at the cheating. For me, it went way past angry, just a crushing despair when I figured it out. And I still haven't gotten angry at it, just still in a state of complete devastation. Has anyone else felt that way? Everything I read in most posts just talk about the anger they have and to use the anger to fuel you. Mine hasn't come, just sadness. Oh, I have gotten angry at the gaslighting, circular logic, mind games, blame shifting, and dismissive anger I get for trying to talk about the affairs. But why am I not super angry at the cheating and just feel crushed by it? I have loved this woman for so long and should be angry. Why am I not? I don't know. Thought I'd ask and see if anyone else out there felt this way or I'm just an odd one. Fourth story. Hi. Been married 25 years. Had a dead bedroom for about the last 8 years. I got tired of the rejection and let my self-esteem die. Came home in early May to the sound of my wife orgasming loudly in the bathroom. This rekindled my love lust for her, but she said she wasn't attracted to me anymore, but wanted to try and work things out, though she was scared she's never regain her attraction. So we started working on things. I started exercising and just taking better care of myself while trying to reconnect with her through common activities. This was tough, very tough. She said a lot of things about how our marriage started that were hurtful, and when we had a rough patch in 2010 she said she had just stayed for the kids. That was rough to hear since our sex life and relationship seemed to be really good. So we go overseas for a family vacation last week, only for me to discover that she had a 6-month affair from August through February, with a co-worker half her age. That was pretty devastating. She claims that they kissed, but I'm assuming more. She's had a hard time with me sneaking a look at her phone on the vacation, and feels like me wanting access to her phone etc. as having no privacy. I've sent her some links to articles about rebuilding trust after an affair, and she seems to be getting on board. She's doing IC and we start couples counseling this week. She can't go NC with her AP since we can't take the income hit and he isn't going to leave his job either. She tells me whenever she has to interact with him, but it's not ideal. I don't really know what she can do to rebuild my trust. Update. Details I didn't include initially. Her AP is engaged to someone via an arranged marriage. I guess this is common in his culture. I believe this engagement happened either around or after the affair ended. Perhaps he had his fling sowing his oats before his marriage was going to kick in. I didn't get to read all the text messages between them. I first found proof of the affair, then freaked out at her. She deleted the message thread, so I don't have any proof, but she's not denying it. I had sent him a message saying that if he didn't leave the workplace, I would contact the admin and report an inappropriate relationship. When he got this, he confronted my wife and said that if I go down, everyone does. So much for him being what she considered a good guy. She was freaking out because she thought that if he acted differently around her, people would notice and her affair would come out. I told her it was naive to think that she could have a workplace affair for 6 months without co-workers figuring it out, but she insists no one knows. She also says crap like he doesn't deserve to have his life ruined from this. From what she's said, he broke things off, and that he didn't want to have sex. That's why it was just kissing. In some ways I'd love to believe that, but in the end not sure it matters. She wanted to, with another man, and took active steps to do so. She also was looking up YouTube videos on how to give blowjobs. So my concern is that she never disclosed to me that the affair probably would have continued to this day if he hadn't broken it off, and that they would have fucked if she could, and that her decision to stay in based not on a desire for reconciliation, but to keep her status, her house, her financial stability in place. Update. This morning I had sent my wife links to Not Just Friends and How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair. She asked me if she was hurting me with her attempts to help me feel better in all the wrong ways, from the book excerpts, and that led to us talking. She kept minimizing the affair, and when pushed about why she didn't like using that term, was because it wasn't romantic, it was just physical. She kept saying that her marriage had been in a really bad place before then, which I took as her trying to justify it. She basically wanted to rug sweep the affair and focus on our marital issues. But she's been pretty clear that she wants a platonic relationship, and I'm not down for that. I told her that I won't live in that type of relationship when she's still working with the AP, or even if he leaves, worrying about if she'll have another affair to meet her sexual needs. That a non-romantic relationship wouldn't be healthy for her, me, or our grown children. We have couples counseling on Wednesday and I'm not quite sure how that'll go. I doubt she can rekindle any romantic feelings towards me, since she has quite a lot of resentment towards me and our relationship. Fifth story. Can't believe it happened to me. I feel so broken and devastated. I'm turning to Reddit to see if it's cathartic. Wife for 6 year, relationship for 9. Thought I was the luckiest man in the world to be with such a great gal. We did everything together. Trips, plans, parties, walks. Felt we were inseparable. We rarely argued, we almost never fought. It seemed like we were peas in a pod. No challenge could occur that we couldn't handle. 3 weeks ago I noticed something different. I asked her what's wrong and she said she is really struggling. She doesn't know who she is anymore. She doesn't know if she wants to be married. Wow, I was blown away. Her complaints about us were specific to me, insulting really. I told her we could fix this like any other problem. I asked for couples therapy. She seemed dismissive about it. It was a hell of a week trying to give space, be patient, be kind, but also be independent. I had a therapy appointment that Friday and my therapist really helped. Things at home did not improve. Fast forward to last weekend. I get a random text from some lady with proof my wife is having an affair. I am bewildered and beyond all comprehension. They had the affair the very same day I was having my first therapy. The marriage is over, I know that. I sent her the photo and 30 seconds later I got a Dear John letter. How is this possible? How did this happen? Who is she that this is what she wanted to do? Update. I don't owe you anything. Top week since D-Day. I know everything and I am on my way out. I am getting a new app. She doesn't know yet. I am going no contact as much as possible. I need to move on and be free of this Lyran wretch. It's the only way to recover from such a sudden theft of my reality. This person had the nerve to text me every day to remind me of some BS thing that doesn't matter. Oh, make sure to bring our friends some wine, we owe them. Oh, there is going to be traffic on Tuesday. The dog has been fed. I'm buying a new lawnmower. Why oh why does she not get it? I have not responded to any message and still she is acting like we still have relationship friendship. Anyone else experience this? Anyways, I should have done it earlier. Locked.